Welcome back, everybody, to another episode with us, Ellie and Lucas. Today, first off, we just want to mention, for everyone that's confused, we are in Germany. We've been in Germany for a few months already.
Since October.
Yeah, since like the beginning of October, or more or less. We still have Gabby. She hasn't gone anywhere either. And we will be in Germany for a little while yet. There will be another video talking all about that stuff, probably next week or the week after. One of those two. But soon, regardless. Today, we are showing our recent adventure to our new favorite place in Germany, or one of our new favorite places. We were really excited to go there. You'll get to tell what it is quite quickly into the video, and we hope you enjoy it. It's definitely a place that we've been hearing a lot about in Germany, but we haven't gone, obviously, until now. And so today we're going to do kind of a different video. We've been inspired because we've been watching a lot of videos from a different channel, which I don't want to say just yet because I want the whole video today to be a surprise, but we will talk about them in a little bit. But they kind of do reactions to things. And so today we are doing a reaction to our own video. This will still be a new video to you guys, but this way we can talk more about it and you can kind of get more of an idea of what we like about it and our reactions and things like that. I think it'll be a lot more fun than just putting some text on the screen with very little context. So we're excited. This is the first time we've done this. We haven't practiced at all, so hopefully it all works. And yeah, we'll just see how it goes. Small disclaimer, we had to shoot this with our GoPro, which is fine, but our GoPro does not do well in lower light. And unfortunately, this environment, we can't control that too much. So there are some points where it's a little dark and maybe a little noisy. We did our best. But we still think you'll enjoy it. So put in our headphones so that we can hear it. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And here we go. Oh, and we will play out like segments of the video and then we'll stop and we'll go back and kind of talk about it. That way you can enjoy the video for what it is without all the pauses and stuff, but we'll still get a chance to talk to you about it. Okay? Should be fun. Are you excited? Okay, me too. Here we go. And we're clicking. Play. You're doing good. That's not bad.
Am I allowed to say things?
Sure, we can say a little. Just not really explain.
That was a
These are fun.
They were so good.
They look like jellyfish. That's good.
I know. I'm so proud. This is all just from the first one. Ooh.
We'll let it go to the end of me talking. So we finished our first dive of the day. We plan to do 2 more, and it was a lot of fun. It was very cool. We've never gone to 20 meters deep before, so that was a cool first for us. And great visibility, very warm pool. It's a lot of fun, and I like the whole atmosphere they got. I wish it was wider though. Like, I wish the pool was wider, because when you get to the deepest part, it's like, I don't know, 4 meters wide at best. So it gets pretty cramped when a lot of people get down there. But otherwise, it was a lot of fun. I don't know if I would come here a lot. It's got great prices, that's for sure. But I don't know if it's really big enough for me to feel like it's worth the drive for us here, plus the cost. If it was wider, like what we do in Duisburg, at our learning facility, then I would probably want to come here more often. But it's still very cool, very awesome place. Pause. Hi, Gubby. Okay, so that was the first segment, and so I should have mentioned just the beginning, but that one was with me filming Ellie. So I had the GoPro on my wrist, just like this, and it's facing out, and so that's how you get to see everything that, like, I can more or less see, assuming that my wrist is facing the right direction at the time.
So the place we normally go diving at is the Taucherwehr Gasometer in Duisburg. And they said that during the winter, sometimes they'll go to Dive for Life, which is in Siegburg. And so we decided, okay, let's just take a trip down there and see what it's like. So it's actually really nice. We really liked it because the water it's basically like an indoor pool. It's like heated, it's nice, it's warm. It's just a really nice place where you don't have to put on like a dry suit and then, like all of these special like weather protections. You can just jump right in with a thinner wetsuit and you're fine. Like you saw in the video, we weren't even wearing, normally you wear kind of like shoes, you could call them. They're called like Fußlings. I don't know what they're called in English.
They're
diving boots.
Yeah.
Into your fins. But we were just going with barefoot. We didn't even have gloves on or like hoods on our heads because the water was that warm.
It's like 26 to 20, their website says 26 degrees Celsius. Our dive computers told me 28, but it's warm. And
there were also no like animals or fish or nothing environmental that we had to be aware of, so it was safe to do that. And the people who inspired us to do this are Gus and Woody. They have a channel called Dive Talk. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a really, really good dive talk, and it's a really,
really good dive talk.
Good dive channel. They basically review some dive videos of people who do like crazy things, people who have like maybe videos where people didn't make it, and it's just like really, it helps you like it's not always people who don't make it, so I don't know if I should really say that. They do a lot of just reaction videos to other people's dive videos in general, whether that be like in cave diving, open ocean, courses that are being taught. They basically react to anything that they can find that looks cool or that's like suggested to them. And it's really nice because it like for us as like new divers, it helps us like think about, well, what should we pay attention to when we're like setting up our gear? How should our we call it trim, or like how should your body look when you're underwater? Should your feet be up or down, and that type of thing. And it's been really, really nice and eye-opening for us. It feels like we've like maybe learned just as much from them as we have from our own diving experiences. So if you haven't seen them, you should check them out. We are big fans, and even if you're not into diving,
things they talk about and the things you get to see are more than like entertaining to just watch it. Most of the people that watch them, as they reiterate all the time, are not divers. So you're not like...
You're not.
You totally belong. Like, everyone is welcome.
I wish I had a Dive Talk shirt. They also have like a merch store, and I want one. I don't have one, but that would be great to wear for this episode.
Yeah. Okay. So now, there's more after this, but we're gonna go back and like pick some things that we want to talk about and kind of explain them to you and react to them. So like I have one already off the top of my head. I'll get us started. Okay.
Okay.
We just have to kind of scrub through to find the things because I don't have exact marks. Okay. This part is something I really like about when you're underwater is when we're breathing, we breathe out and that creates bubbles. As you saw, there's lots of bubbles. And those bubbles can get trapped on things and you can basically see the bubbles against the surface. And I think it looks really cool because if you've ever seen real elemental mercury, which is a liquid metal at room temperature, I think it looks a lot like that. And it just looks really reflective and metallic and cool. So I really liked it. And I really thought this shot was really cool watching these bubbles like fold like and spread across the surface. I think that just looks so cool. And you can see right here how it looks kind of like metallic. And that is like real air. There's like another section that we unfortunately can't show you because it was so dark, that so much air had accumulated that you could like stick your hand in there and just feel like dryness. And this happens in diving in lots of places.
I didn't notice the dryness though when we stuck our hands.
It's hard to tell,
Okay.
but it was there. And at the place we dive in Duisburg, there actually is a dry bell which has a pocket of air.
Dive bell.
Yeah, that's called the dive bell.
I thought you said dry bell.
Oh, a dive bell. And you could like realistically put your head up there and breathe it, although without being too technical, we would never do that. It's too unsafe. That could be any gas in the world.
You don't know what gas is in there, so you could be breathing in something that's toxic, something that's not the right amount of oxygen. You don't know. Don't breathe air underwater. That's not from your tank. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Right in this part, like in the beginning, right here, you can see I'm like paddling with my hand. I'm like kind of doing like I'm used to swimming. And so when you swim, you know, you use like all 4 of your like appendages to swim. And so something really, really hard for first-time divers is to like stop using your hands. They tell you to hold, what do you call this? The inflator hose?
Yeah, our inflator hoses.
They tell you to hold like your BCD inflator hose that pumps up your jacket. And like you're just supposed to sit here and you can hold that in your hands and sit here. And like with your hands cupped. And it's been the hardest thing for me to get used to. And so that was what we tried doing here. I tried working really hard at like swimming. Sorry about the monkeys. I tried working really hard to stop paddling with this hand because, I don't know. I tried really, really hard and you'll see that I'm pretty sure oh my Jesus. I'm pretty sure I got much better at that as our dives went on during the day, but I was just like, I'm so embarrassed by it. It's not terrible, but I just know I can do better.
Yeah, it's just the sign of like a beginner. I think it's funny to Ellie now and to me for sure because now we have it on video. Like I see her doing it a lot and I've always been very conscious to not, so I don't think I do it too often. But I always see Ellie and I'm always like, just like, when I got okay. But now that she sees it in video, she's just so like, no, what am I doing? It's funny because she actually can see what she's doing now because you don't notice when you're new.
So here you can see my feet coming together like this, and I'm sort of doing it, not really technically. I'm just kind of like pulling myself backwards. And when you're scuba diving, it's really also hard because they tell you that you're supposed to be kind of like positioned like this, so you're going up a bit and your feet kick here. But really professional divers like have their feet, you kind of look like a frog. If like these are my legs, you bend them up here, and like this is my torso, you like bend them up, and then you need to come out, kick, and come back. Mm-hmm. And that's what it looks like. And so I was kind of doing that here, but like reverse because I didn't want to go over the ledge. And so this is also something that I wanted to work on, was like frog kicking. You can see the guys down below us, they're like really, you can like play right here, like watch, you can watch the guy doing it.
Well, he's taking a photo, so he's just like still.
But like this is how your legs should be. And also for first time divers, that's also really hard.
So this is to kind of give more of what Ellie's talking about. Right now, she's trying to do this like frog kick thing where she keeps her legs more bent and kicks in a specific way. Here as a critique, the only difference is like her feet, you could say, a professional would say, are like not going the right way, but she's like got the general idea.
Another thing here, you can note that like when I'm up here, I have like my jacket fully pumped up with air. So theoretically, I should be like floating and I should have more of my head over the water. And the fact that it's not, I feel like I had too much weight in my jacket. Not by a lot, like I wasn't gonna like stay sunk, but like, because I've never been so low before with pumping my jacket fully up. And so that made me then, for the next dive, I took out 1 kilogram from each side or 2 pounds from each side.
A total of 2 kilos that she removed.
Yeah. And then I was much better. And then on the next dives when we came up, I like had my head over the water, not like here. Here we go. This is my favorite part because I, for the first time in our diving careers, got to have the GoPro. And now I get to record Lucas, and I'm really happy because I wanted you to be able to see yourself, or you always see me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we need these, don't we? Look like a monkey. Okay, dive number 2 is done. Short little break to off gas and let some of the nitrogen bubble out of our systems, and then we'll do one last dive of the day, I think.
This is our first time.
Yeah. Well, have to see what time we got out.
We got out at like, I'm pretty sure it was 15 minutes ago.
Okay. We ideally need to wait a half hour.
Test that. But this is, if this works, this will be the first time we get to do 3 dives in one day. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Okay. So there'll be one more piece after this. It's a little shorter. Yeah, so that was the second dive. That went really well, I thought. I thought I looked pretty good.
I think if those are all the clips you have of me filming you, then that's not a lot.
Well, I didn't want to do a lot of like repetitive stuff. We swam the same area 3 times, so you would have seen a lot of walls. So I tried to do some of the more interesting things to see. There's this one thing, Ellie was talking about this, and she shot a really great example of this. So here, this is a great example of what Ellie is talking about with keeping your body very flat and your legs up. So both of these guys are like, I mean, we're not experts, but you'd call this pretty pretty dang good trim.
Yeah.
In the top left coming over now, like look how flat their bodies are and their legs are perfectly bent.
Up. And they're just staying in that position. They're not pushing the water with their fins at all. They're just like bringing them around, and it's kind of just like to keep them in that same position. Okay, they are pushing the water a little bit with their fins, but it's not like they're trying to go anywhere. So that motion that they're using, that kind of like circular one, is to keep them like in place. And I think that that's super cool.
Yeah, they have like very good buoyancy. This is something as beginners we still definitely struggle with, is those guys are basically laying in the water and they're not going anywhere. They're not going to go up and they're not going to go down. They are there. And that's how it should be. For me and Ellie, we still are learning how to have that much control, where a lot of times what's really keeping me from sinking is because I'm kicking. I'm kicking down at the water to keep myself at... I have just enough air in my jacket that I don't have to kick hard, but I'm still kicking. And so that's something I'm still learning, is to like sometimes to just stop moving my legs and learn to actually control my depth just with my jacket and breathing technique. And we're getting there.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work. It's really hard. But those guys were a really great example of how you want to look.
It's weird because like as a beginner diver, I feel like I'm afraid to stop kicking, or I was afraid. I really tried to not kick here because you feel like on Earth, when you're on land, you can like lose your balance easy, and I think that this kind of plays in here. Like I'm afraid I'll like fall too fast if I stop kicking or something, but that's all in your head because you're in the water. You're not gonna fall anywhere.
Yeah.
Unless you're like so heavily weighted.
This is not me like saying that I'm like great at all because we're so new, but this is kind of the direction that Ellie's like trying to go with the hand thing. Like you'll see as I swim through this like structure, my hands are like out, but they're not really moving. I'm just hanging them there, where with her, like she was flapping her hands more. So this is just kind of like the direction you're supposed to go with like your hand movements, where they're not really doing anything. Because in the world of scuba diving, it really doesn't do anything for you. Your feet are what like really move you. All the stuff with your hands is just wasted energy, which is a waste of air. So that's like why we're trying not to do that. It's just, it doesn't have a great enough effect for it to be worth it, is essentially what it comes down to.
You also need to make sure that you have enough surface time between your dives when you're like, in general. You need to make sure you have enough surface time between your dives, because when you are underwater, your body accumulates more nitrogen bubbles in it. So you're always, like we call it, on-gassing. And so you also need to have like a safety stop. So after you're done diving, you like stop a few meters or feet before the surface. So in addition to like taking a safety stop, after you're like out on the land, you need to rest between your dives. For us, for what we're doing, it's typically about 30 to 45 minutes. The purpose of this is to also keep like off gassing. So to get rid of like this extra nitrogen buildup just by breathing.
So basically you can imagine if you take like a Coca-Cola bottle or sparkling water, anything with carbon dioxide in it, and you shake it, and if you opened it, it explodes, right? Like it turns into a fountain. When we're scuba diving, we're kind of doing that to our bodies. So when we go 20 meters deep and we're breathing our air, all that nitrogen, those bubbles are accumulating within our body. And if we were to just go from 20 meters to the top, like instantly like that, you can imagine within our bodies, the same thing is happening to that Coke bottle. All that nitrogen gas is bubbling out of our muscles and other tissues extremely rapidly. And while you won't necessarily explode, that's not healthy for you, and you can get what's called the bends.
And you'll notice that because like at your, like where your
joints are, it'll get like itchy. Yeah. That's where the name comes from. And ultimately, if you don't treat it immediately by going to very specific special hospitals with very special gear, you will die. And so this is what we're always worried about, and this is why we go very slowly when we dive, and take so many precautions. In the same way, we cannot go in an airplane between 18 to 24 hours after diving, because going higher up is basically doing the same thing again. All the bubbles, all the nitrogen in our body will bubble out faster. So it's like totally safe, but you have to do things properly. On to the final part. This is back to me filming. We really wanted to get a third dive in that day, so we like kind of went quickly to get back in the water.
But we didn't rush.
Yeah, but it still went well, and we had fun.
I think that was that guy that talked to me.
Your hands are pretty good.
I know. Have some comments.
Yeah.
So you can see me. This is like our third time diving, and here I really controlled my hands, and you can see I'm not moving them at all. They're not hanging by my sides, they're out in front, and that's how they should be. And I really tried here to like also let go of my inflator hose for my jacket, which like will help pump air in to like raise you or lower and let it out to lower you. I tried to go up and down just by breathing, because theoretically you're supposed to be able to do that when you want to rise up a little bit. You breathe in, and by adding all this extra air and expanding your lungs, you have more air in you, and you should go up more. And then when you want to sink, you go like breathe out all of it, and you should sink more. And so I tried to do that to swim through the boat. It was a lot of fun. So I'm really proud of my hands. My feet could still use some work.
Yeah, you look kind of like your bicycle kicking a little or something. Like you're like your knees and stuff, but they look pretty good.
Also, I will say though, at this third dive, my knee was like, my knees were hurting me.
Yeah.
And my feet. So I don't know.
It could also.
So that's why I was kind of just like,
It was the first time doing so many dives in a day. Yeah, you can see there are other guys here who were there with cameras, and you can take cameras, put them in special housings, and take them underwater, and they look like these big weird contraptions, because realistically, as you can tell from the GoPro, even in the best lighting, because this place was well lit, cameras do not do well under the water. The water just absorbs way too much light, and so you have to buy or add these very powerful and expensive flashlights, or lamps, some people call them, and use those to help get that lighting you need for good photos. So that's why this guy's got this huge like contraption with him. And here also you can see another great example of this was we are pretty sure a student of some kind with a instructor, where they're practicing that horizontal, going down at a horizontal position, very slowly, and in control and stuff like that. So, very cool.
So, Lucas told me after, I'm pretty sure it was this time, you can see when I'm going through the hoop, there's like this little thing that's dangling from me, and that is like your pressure gauge. So that tells you how much air is left in your tank, and also has a compass that tells you what direction you're going. But we were taught to like put it through our jacket, and so it like hangs on like kind of like the pocket, but it's obviously not ideal, because theoretically when you're scuba diving, it should just be your body. There shouldn't be things like hanging off of it like this. This is like unideal. But we need to have like a hook or figure out some type of contraption so it then could like attach, because there's also rings on your system, so it can attach and it's not just hanging there. Because if you were in places more outdoors like coral reefs or something, you don't want this to dangle and then damage the coral reef. It's not ideal. Mm-hmm. And so that's why the hula hoop got dragged with me as I was trying to go through it.
Yeah.
otherwise, I think we're really good. I mean, we made it through quite easy.
Yeah, we were both, I think, going through without like touching the hoop, so that's good, like buoyancy control. And yeah, overall, I mean, we really like the place. We're going to go back in a week or 2 weeks or so, just after Christmas. We're going to go back.
I feel like it's really nice to like work on. It's nice and well lit, and it's nice to like in that warm environment. It's nice to work on the basics.
Yep. Yeah. Because these are like the best times. Like in scuba diving, ideally, you should never be touching anything. And if you're on a coral reef, you certainly do not want to land on the coral. One, you could break it, and two, some coral is like venomous.
Like
where
urchins.
if you touch it, it'll sting you. And
although urchins aren't coral, are they?
No.
Sorry.
But there are things in nature that can harm you just for touching them. It's not that they're aggressive, it's just that you shouldn't touch them. So you can break them and you can hurt yourself. So in scuba diving, we don't want to be touching things.
And third, you could like also, you shouldn't like touch the animals, right? Like don't humanize the animals. We don't need to make them pets.
Yeah. And so like in these environments, we're also practicing that. We're trying our best. It's still okay to touch things because we're learning, but these are like the best places for us to be, to like hone those skills so that when we finally go to Mexico or Australia or our dream in Iceland, we will be able to enjoy everything and keep it all pristine for everyone else.
I have to say that ow, your claws, dear. Thank you. I have to say that, like, I don't know if it was on the first or what dive it was, but at some point I just had to, like, rest on the ground. My feet were, I was like, I don't remember what I was doing, but I just had to stand. Like, not because I wanted to, but it's just like, I couldn't keep myself.
Yeah. And that's...
I mean, it's okay because
certainly
it's
okay
concrete.
In these environments, yeah. And once we're, like, better,
not ideal.
We'll be able to just, like, float in a spot.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, like, sitting in that spot, but... we're not quite there yet. I think at one point while we were there, I tried to like cross my legs like a pretzel and just see if I'd float. And as soon as I did that, I just started dropping.
But I think that's maybe why it says you have too much weight.
No, if I'm properly like buoyant and stuff, I should be able to still do that. So it's, yeah. So that's all we had planned for today's video. We hope you really enjoyed it. You got to see something that we love and actually hear how excited we are when we do it, as opposed to just seeing something that we did. Tomorrow, we get to go diving again already. We're going back to Duisburg, and that'll be a dry suit day because right now the water there is like 8 or something degrees Celsius.
So cold.
It's cold. And we just got our dry suit certifications, which helps so much. The difference, just to give you an idea, you just saw what is considered a really well-lit crystal clear pool. Where we're going tomorrow is neither lit nor crystal clear, even if it was. So it's cold and dark, but we enjoy it. It has lots of cool things. And I think we're going to even try filming tomorrow. We will see how that goes. The owner is going to let us use a special setup for the GoPro that has those expensive and strong lights that I talked about. But I have never manned one of those pieces of equipment while diving, so it will be a treat. I'm confident it will go well. You just have to take things one step at a time. We'll get comfortable and then we'll play with the camera, but it will be different. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm excited, and I'm excited to show you guys.
I'm excited too.
Cool.
I also bought for a dry. So what is involved in a dry suit is you buy something that really feels like a winter coat, and it goes underneath this waterproof overlayer. And so I just bought myself the coat parts. You call it an Unterzieher, or the underlay for your dry suit. And so I bought my own. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, so we hope you guys enjoyed this video. We certainly did. Please remember to leave a comment, and subscribe if you haven't done any of those things and you want to support us some more. And we will see you on the next video.